Students, good morning. Welcome to our science class of class 8th, chapter 2, that is microorganism, friends and foe. As we have previously discussed about certain topics of this chapter, that is about the microorganism and the types of microorganism. Now today we are going to discuss the rest of the topics of this chapter one by one. Now today we are going to know about that where do the microorganism live. So today we will start with this topic that where do the microorganism live. So let us know about that where do the microorganism live. Before that, first of all, we know that what are the learning targets of this chapter. The remaining topics of this chapter are where do microorganisms live? Second one is microorganism and us. Third one is food preservation. Fourth one is nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle. So today we are going to discuss one by one about all these topics. So let us start with first, which is where do microorganisms live? Now let us know about that where do microorganisms live. As we know that microorganisms are those organisms which are very small in size that we can't see with our naked eyes, and they can only be seen with the help of a microscopic instrument, and that instrument is known as microscope. Now today we are going to know about that where do these microorganisms live. The microorganisms live almost everywhere. They live on land, they live in soil, they live in water. Everywhere the organisms are found. So the microorganism lives almost everywhere on earth where there is liquid, including hot springs on the ocean floor, deep inside the rocks, within the earth crust. Everywhere the microorganisms are found. Microorganisms are critical to nutrient cycle in ecosystem also because they act as decomposers. Some microorganisms grow on other organisms while other exist freely. Microorganisms like amoeba can live alone, while fungi and bacteria may also live in colonies. So this is about the microorganism, where these microorganisms are found. Now let us know about that classification of microorganisms. So the microorganisms are mainly classified into two categories. The first one is friendly microorganism and the second one is harmful microorganism. So first of all, we know that which type of microorganism are called the friendly microorganism. The organisms which are very useful to us are known as friendly microorganisms, and they are used for the various purposes. Now let us know more about the microorganism where they are used. Microorganisms are used for various purposes, such as they are used for the preparation of curd, they are used for the preparation of bread, used for the preparation of cake, production of alcohol, cleaning up the environment, preparation of medicines. So there are so many places where the microorganisms are used. They are used to make different types of things. Next one is in agriculture also the microorganisms are used. Where they are used to increase the fertility of the soil by nitrogen fixation. Third one is we will very known about the bacteria, that is lactobacillus bacteria. We know that type of bacteria is found in curd, so they help in the formation of curd. Next is about the yeast. Yeast is a kind of fungi, and that is used for the commercial production of alcohol and wine. Then the process of conversion of sugar into alcohol also takes place in the presence of yeast, and that process is known as fermentation. So these are about the friendly microorganism, and we are knowing that how they are useful to us. Next is what we are knowing the different types of antibiotics like streptomycin, tetracycline, erythromycin. Some of the common used antibodies, they are made from the fungi and bacteria. There are several diseases like cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox, hepatitis can be prevented by the vaccination. In 1798, Edward Jenner discovered the vaccine for the smallpox. So this is about the friendly microorganism. Now, one by one, just revise it all the points that the microorganisms are used in the preparation of curd, bread and cake. They are used for the production of alcohol, cleaning of the environment by breaking down of organic waste into harmless useful substances also takes place with the help of bacteria. They are used for the preparation of medicines. So these all uh, are the uses of the microorganism. They are the different uses of the microorganism. Now let us know about the second type of microorganism, and that is known as harmful microorganism. So let us know about that. Which type of organism are called the harmful microorganism? The organism which are harmful to us are known as harmful microorganisms. There are some microorganisms that cause the diseases in human beings, plants and animals. So they are harmful for us, so that's why we just say that they are called the harmful microorganism. So first of all, we know that these type of, there is a one particular name is given to that type of microorganism that causes the disease. So the disease causing microorganisms are called the pathogens. Pathogens can be bacteria, fungi, protozoa or virus. Disease causing microorganisms when enter in our body, they, from where they enter in our body? They enter in our body through the air we breathe, through the water we drink, through the food we eat. And these microorganisms can also be transmitted by the direct contact with the infected person, or they are carried by the animal. So let us know more about the harmful microorganism. The microorganism that cause disease to the human beings, that cause the disease in animals, plants, and these microorganisms that is responsible to cause the disease in plants, animals and human beings are known as pathogens. When the pathogen enter into the human body through the air while breathing and the water while drinking or the food while eating, some of the pathogens are gets transmitted by the direct contact to an infected person, and they are carried through the animal also. There are some microbial diseases that are normally spread from an infected person to a healthy person through the air, water, food and physical contact, and that type of disease is known as a communicable disease. Means the disease which is spread from the infected person to a healthy person through the contact, through the physical contact or through the food or the or through the water is known as a communicable disease. Some of the common communicable disease are, for example, the first one is the chicken pox, common cold, smallpox, AIDS. These are the certain kinds of disease which is spread from an infected person to a healthy person through the different means. So that type of disease is known as the communicable disease. Communicable disease is spread by the following ways. Now here we are going to know about the some human disease caused by the microorganism. There are some disease that is caused by the microorganism also. So one by one we will know that about the types of disease that is caused by the microorganism to the human beings, in which the first one is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, what is the mode of transmission? How it is transmitted? It is mainly transmitted through the air, and there are certain symptoms of this disease: low grade fever, breathlessness. And what are the preventive measures? Means that how we are able to prevent our body from this disease: BCG vaccination and general cleanliness. Next one is pneumonia. Pneumonia is transmitted by the air. And what are the symptoms? High fever, inflammation of lungs. And what are the preventive measures? We take the antibiotics And third one is what? Cholera. Cholera is transmitted by the water and food. So what are the symptoms of this disease? Vomiting, loose motion, dehydration. And what are the preventive measures? General hygiene, good sanitation, vaccination. Typhoid. The typhoid is mainly transmitted by the water and food. And what are the symptoms? Continuous fever due to the infection in the intestine. In this, there is an infection in the intestine occur, and due to this, continuous fever occur. And what are the preventive measures? Drinking boiled water, cooking food properly, maintaining good sanitation, and vaccination. So these are the preventive measures about this disease. Now, these are the certain kinds of human disease which are caused by the microorganism. There are some more disease like measles. The measles is what is the causative organism of this disease is virus, and the mode of transmission is what? Air and contact. Polio. Polio is also caused by virus. The mode of transmission is what? Air and water. Hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is caused by the virus. The mode of transmission is what? Water. Malaria. Malaria is caused by protozoa, and the mode of transmission is what? Mosquito. So these are the certain types of human disease which are caused by the microorganism. Now we are going to know about the microorganism also cause disease in animals. So there are certain disease that is caused by the microorganism in animals. Now we are going to know about that one by one. Now animal disease caused by the microorganism. Let us know about this. The animal disease caused by the microorganism, in which the first one is what? Anthrax. This anthrax is a type of disease that is mainly caused by the bacteria in animals, and mainly the affected animals are cattle. Next one is foot and mouth disease. This is caused by virus, and the affected animals mainly cattle. Pox. Pox is also caused by virus, and the affected animals were cow, buffalo, sheep, and goat. Cholera. Cholera is caused by bacteria, and affected animals is poultry, birds. Rinderpest, dermatitis, diarrhea, diarrhea of chick, tuberculosis, aspergillosis. So these are the certain types of disease that is caused by the microorganism in animals. So this is about the disease that is caused by the microorganism in animals. As we know that in 1876, Robert Koch discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis, and this bacterium Bacillus anthracis which cause anthrax disease. What is anthrax? Anthrax is a dangerous disease caused by the bacterium that affects both human and cattle. So it affects both human beings also as well as the cattle also. Now we are going to know about the certain types of disease that is caused by the microorganism in plants. So we are going to know about the some common plant disease caused by the microorganism one by one. So in which the first one is citrus canker. Citrus canker is a type of disease that mainly occur in crop that is orange, or we can say it can also occur in lemon. Microorganism that cause this type of disease is bacteria. And what is the mode of transmission? The mode of transmission is mainly air. It is spread mainly through the air. Second one is rust of wheat. Rust of wheat, the cross affected by this type of disease is wheat, and the microorganism that is responsible to cause this disease is fungi. And how it is transmitted? Air and seeds. Next one is yellow vein of mosaic, that is mainly occur in crop bhindi and okra. And the microorganism that is responsible to cause this disease is virus, and the mode of transmission is what? How it is transmitted? It is transmitted through the insect. Early blight of tomato, it is caused by fungi, and the mode of transmission is air. Potato scab is caused in cross potato, and the microorganism responsible to cause this disease is bacteria, and the mode of transmission is soil. So there are some more disease like smut blast and red rust disease that is caused in different crops, and these are caused by the microorganism like bacteria, virus, fungi, algae. So these are the microorganism that is responsible to cause certain types of disease in plants. So let us know about the next topic of this chapter, that is about the food poisoning. So we are just going to know about the food poisoning. Food poisoning means how the food poisoning occurs. First of all, we know that how the food poisoning occurs. If the food is not stored and covered or preserved properly, then it gets spoiled. Spoiled due to the how they get spoiled. They get spoiled due to the action of microorganism on it, and such type of food when it gets eaten by the human beings, it causes the food poisoning. So this is about that how the food poisoning caused. So what are the symptoms of food poisoning? There are different symptoms of food poisoning, in which the first is vomiting, second is diarrhea, third is pain in abdomen, fourth is headache, and fifth one is what? Fever. So these are the symptoms of the food poisoning. Next is about the food preservation. So before discussing about this topic, we firstly know about that what is the importance of food preservation. Why the food preservation is important for us? The food preservation is important for the elimination of microorganism. Second, it increases the shelf life of the food. Next is making seasonal fruits available to them throughout the year. Next is adding variety to the diet. Next is saving the time and energy. And next one is what? It improving the nutritional value of the food. So we can say that the food preservation is very important. There are certain methods also that we use to preserve the food. Preservation, then the question arises that how the preservation means how we are able to preserve the food. Preservation usually involves preventing the growth of bacteria, fungi such as yeast and other microorganisms, as well as retarding the oxidation of fats which cause the rancidity. Number of methods that can be used either totally prevent, delay, or otherwise reduce the spoilage of the food. There are some common methods of the food preservation. So one by one we are going to discuss about that. What are the methods? In which the first one is salt, and we can use the salt and edible oils are the common chemicals that is usually used to check the growth of the microorganism. So that's why they are known as preservatives. The next is sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite. They are also used as common preservative to preserve the food. Next is that common salt. We usually use a common salt in order to preserve the meat, fish for ages. Sugar reduces. How the sugar is act as a preservative agent? Because the sugar reduces the moisture content and which prevents the growth of the bacteria. So therefore jam, jellies are preserved by using sugar. Next is use of oil and vinegar. Averts the spoilage of the food. It prevents the spoilage of the pickles as bacteria, because we know that bacteria cannot survive in such kind of environment. Next is about when the milk is heated at about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes, then swiftly chilled and stored. This process prevents the growth of microorganism, and this process was conceptualized by Louis Pasteur. Therefore, it is known as pasteurization method. So it is one of the method that first time it was described by Louis Pasteur. So that's why it is known as pasteurization method, and that is used to prevent the spoilage of the milk. So milk is preserved by this method of pasteurization. So these are the some common methods that is mainly used to preserve the food. Next is about the nitrogen cycle. Now we are going to know about that what is nitrogen cycle. So first of all we know that what is nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen is a biological process which transforms the inert nitrogen present in the atmosphere to a more useful form for living. or we can say that nitrogen cycle is a geochemical process through which the nitrogen is converted into many forms, consequently passing from the atmosphere to the soil to organism and back to the atmosphere. So the nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere, it gets transmitted to the soil, and from the soil it again goes back into the atmosphere, and this process goes on in nature, and that type of cycle is known as nitrogen cycle. So it involves several processes such as nitrogen fixation, nitrification, denitrification. So in this chapter we are going to study about all these steps that is involved in this nitrogen cycle, and these are known as the stages of the nitrogen cycle. So the process of nitrogen cycle is consists of following steps, in which the first step is nitrogen fixation. Now we are going to know about that what is nitrogen fixation. So let us know about that what is nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation means it is the initial step of the nitrogen cycle. So initial step means it is the first step of the nitrogen cycle, and here the atmospheric nitrogen which is available in the atmosphere in inert form is converted into usable form such as ammonia. So that nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere in inert form, it gets converted into usable form, that is ammonia. The formula of ammonia is NH3, and during this process of nitrogen fixation, the inert form of nitrogen gas is deposited into the soil and from the atmosphere and the surface water, mainly through the precipitation. So the question arises that the nitrogen that is present in atmosphere and in inert form, how it goes to the soil. So it goes from the atmosphere to the soil, the surface water, or through the precipitation. Later on, the nitrogen undergoes a set of changes in which the two nitrogen atoms get separated and combined with the what is the next step? The next step is that two nitrogen atoms get separated and combined with hydrogen to form ammonia. So by this way the formation of ammonia takes place. The entire process of nitrogen fixation is completed by a symbiotic bacteria which is known as digotrophs. Symbiotic bacteria means it is a type of bacteria in which the two living organisms live with each other, and they are mutually benefited by each other. So this entire process of nitrogen fixation is completed by a symbiotic bacteria which is known as digotrophs. Azotobacter, rhizobium bacteria also have the major role in this process. So these are the names of the certain bacteria which plays important role in nitrogen fixation. These bacteria consist of a nitrogenase enzyme. These bacteria contain nitrogenase enzyme which has the capacity to combine the gaseous nitrogen with the hydrogen to form ammonia. So the question arises that how the formation of ammonia takes place, how this nitrogen combined with hydrogen to form ammonia. So these bacteria plays very important role in the formation of ammonia, because these bacteria contains a nitrogenase enzyme which has the capacity to combine the gaseous nitrogen with hydrogen to form ammonia. Nitrogen fixation can occur either by atmospheric fixation, which involves the lightning, or industrial fixation by manufacturing ammonia under the high temperature condition. So these are the two ways by which the nitrogen fixation takes place, either by the atmospheric fixation in which involves the lightning, or by the industrial fixation by manufacturing the ammonia under the high temperature condition. This can also be fixed through man-made process, primarily industrial process, and that create the ammonia and nitrogen rich fertilizers. Now the nitrogen fixation is also of different types, in which the first one is atmospheric fixation. and the second one is industrial fixation, and the third one is biological nitrogen fixation. So one by one we will discuss about all these types of nitrogen fixation, in which the first one is atmospheric fixation, a natural phenomena where the energy of lightning breaks the nitrogen into the nitrogen oxide. The energy of lightning, the lightning that occurs, that causes the breaking down of nitrogen into the nitrogen oxide, is then used by the, and that nitrogen oxide is used by the plants in that form. So this is known as the atmospheric fixation. Next one is industrial fixation. As man-made alternative that aids in nitrogen fixation by the use of ammonia. Ammonia is produced by the direct combination of nitrogen and hydrogen. Later, it is then converted into various fertilizers such as urea. So, industrial nitrogen fixation occurs by this way. Third one is biological nitrogen fixation. We already know that nitrogen is not usable directly from the atmosphere. Means the nitrogen that is present in atmosphere, we can't take it directly in that gaseous form. So it is not usable directly from the air for the plants and animals. Bacteria, rhizobium, and blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is also known as cyanobacteria that transform the unusable form of nitrogen into the other compounds that are more readily usable. Means that these bacteria plays important role in converting that unusable nitrogen into the usable form, so that it can easily be used by the utilized by the plants. These nitrogen compounds gets fixed in the soil by these microbes. So these microbes in biological nitrogen fixation mainly occurs with the help of certain kinds of bacteria that plays important role in converting the unusable nitrogen into the usable form, so that the plants can utilize it in that form very easily. Now, next step of the nitrogen cycle is nitrification. So we are just going to know about the nitrification. So in our next slide, there is the flow chart of the nitrogen cycle that shows the different steps, in which the first step, that is about the nitrogen fixation and the types of nitrogen fixation, that I have already told you. Now we are going to discuss about the nitrification. So the second step is what? Nitrification. So let us know about the nitrification. Nitrification, in this process, what happens in this process? The ammonia, in first step we have got the ammonia. The ammonia is converted into nitrate by the presence of bacteria in the soil. There is bacteria that is present in the soil that convert that ammonia into nitrate. The nitrate are formed by the oxidation of ammonia. How this nitrate formation takes place? When the ammonia gets oxidized, then the nitrate is formed, and it gets oxidized with the help of bacteria. The name of that bacteria is Nitrosomonas bacterium. Later produce nitrites, and later on that nitrate gets converted into nitrites, are converted into produce and nitrites are then converted into nitrates by nitrobacter. Means that firstly the oxidation of ammonia takes place, and the oxidation of ammonia takes place in the presence of bacteria Nitrosomonas that convert that ammonia into nitrites, and then after that nitrites gets converted into nitrates with the help of bacteria, and the name of that bacteria is Nitrobacter. This conversion is very important, as ammonia gas is toxic for the plants. Why this conversion of ammonia into nitrate takes place? Because that ammonia gas is very toxic for the plants. So this conversion of the ammonia into the nitrate is very important. Now the third step is about the assimilation. Now we are going to know about what is assimilation. Primary producers. The primary producers are mainly known as plants. The plants that take in nitrogen compound from the soil, from where they are getting the soil, they are getting the nitrogen compound from the soil with the help, how they get it with the help of their roots, which are available in the form of ammonia, nitrite ions, means nitrogen is present in the form of ammonia, nitrite ions, nitrate ions, ammonium ions, and are used in the formation of plant and animal proteins. Means that nitrogen that is taken by the plants in these forms, they mainly used it for making the plant proteins, and when that plant is eaten by the animals, they get the protein from that. So this is the way it enters in the food web. So this is the way this nitrogen enters into the food web when the primary consumer. So by this way we can say that it enters into the food web. Next step is what? Next step is ammonification. Now we are going to know about the ammonification. Ammonification. When the plants or the animals get died, the nitrogen present in organic matter is released back into the soil. When they get died, the nitrogen that is present in their organic matter gets released back into the soil. And what is the role of decomposers? The decomposers, namely bacteria and fungi. There are two common examples of decomposers, that is bacteria and fungi. Where these are found, they are mainly present in soil. What is the role of decomposer? Means what is the function of the decomposer? They convert the organic matter back into the ammonium, and this process is known as decomposition, that produces the ammonia, and which is further used for the biological process. So this whole process is known as ammonification process. Next is about the denitrification. Denitrification is the process in which the nitrogen compounds make its way back to the atmosphere. Means that the nitrogen, firstly we convert the unusable form of nitrogen into the usable form, into the nitrogenous compound that is easily utilized by the plants for making the plant proteins. So that nitrogen compound is again get converted into the nitrogen. So that means in this process the nitrogen compound makes its way back to the atmosphere by converting nitrate into gaseous nitrogen. So that nitrate gets converted into gaseous nitrogen, and this process of nitrogen cycle is the final stage, and this stage is known as the final stage and occurs in the absence of oxygen. Denitrification is carried by denitrifying bacteria such as Clostridium. What is the name of the bacteria that plays important role in converting the nitrogenous compound, that is nitrate, into the gaseous nitrogen? The name of that bacteria is Clostridium and Pseudomonas, which will process the nitrate to gain the oxygen and give out free nitrogen gas as byproduct. So this is about the denitrification, and this is the final stage of the nitrogen cycle. So by the following stages, these are the different stages that is included in the nitrogen cycle, and this nitrogen cycle occurs in nature. So we just know about that, what is nitrogen cycle and what are the different steps. About the different steps that we have known, that it is consist of different steps, that is nitrogen fixation. Then we have studied that what are the types of the nitrogen fixation. Now we have known about what is nitrification, what is ammonification, what is assimilation, what is denitrification. So by this way this nitrogen cycle occurs in nature. So this is about the nitrogen cycle, and this is the last topic of this chapter that we have discussed today. Now very soon we will come with our next chapter. So students, Be happy and thank you.